Good evening. Here I am going to teach you how to make journal entry. Here I take one of the simple problem of journal entry from T.S. Goel book. Here question is enter the following transaction in the journal of Manohar Lal and Sons. Manohar Lal and Sons. For making journal entry, first of all, we draw the columns for journal entry. There are 5 columns here. First column for date, second is for particular, third is for LF, ledger folio, and third is for LF, and fourth is for amount debit, and fifth is amount for credit. On the top of the amount we mentioned here debit and credit, and under the amount we mentioned here the sign of the currency. In our country, rupees is our currency and its sign is like that. The first entry here, before starting the journal entry, we write the year in which the transaction belong. Here the transaction belong of year to 2023. So mention the year here 2023 and month is March. We mentioned here March 1st. Manohar Lal started business with cash rupees 60,000. Here the business started with cash. In this transaction there are 2 things. First here cash and cash introduced as a capital. Cash come into business and comes as a capital. Cash come under real account. According to real account, debit what comes in, so we debit the cash account. Cash account debit, and cash comes as a capital. Capital represents the businessman. The businessman is given here, so in place of businessman we write here to capital account. And in other words, capital is liabilities, and every liability is credited in the account, so capital is credited here. The entry is cash account debit to capital account. We give explanation, short explanation, that is known as narration. Business started with cash. Business started with cash. Here mention the amount 60,000. Before cash 60,000 in debit, and before capital 60,000 in credit. And after making entry, by drawing a line, we separate the entry. For separating the entry, we draw the line. The next transaction is here March 2nd. Mention here March 2nd. Transaction is purchased furniture for cash. In this transaction there are 2 accounts, furniture and cash. Furniture purchased, furniture come to business, and furniture purchased for cash. Cash goes out from the business. Cash and furniture both comes under real account, And the rule of journal entry as per real account is debit what comes in and credit what goes out. Furniture comes to business and cash goes out from business. So here we write furniture account debit, furniture account debit to cash account. To cash account. Narration furniture purchased for cash. Furniture purchased for cash. For cash. Write the amount. The amount is at 10,000. Before furniture 10,000 in debit and before cash 10,000 in credit. Now we draw the line to separate the entry. The next transaction is here on March 4. First mention the month March, date is 4. Purchase goods for cash of 20,000. Here goods purchased for cash. In this transaction, first of all we see what are the account affected by the transaction. Here two account, cash and goods. Goods purchased for cash, goods come into business, and when goods purchased for cash, cash goes out from business. Both comes under real account, and as per rule of journal entry of real account, debit part comes in and credit part goes out. When goods purchased, goods come to business. So in place of goods we write purchases account. Purchases account debit. Purchases account debit to cash account. Narration goods purchased for cash. Goods bought for cash. Bought for cash. We mention the amount here 25,000. Again we draw the line. The next transaction is on March 5. March 5. The transaction is bought goods from Kamlesh of 15,000. Goods bought from Kamlesh. Here the two items Kamlesh and goods. Goods bought from Kamlesh. Goods purchased for cash are not mentioned. Only name of the party is given. Supplier is given Kamlesh. When goods purchased, goods come to business and goods purchased from Kamlesh. Kamlesh is giver. So as per rule of real account, debit what comes in, we debit the purchases account. Purchases. Debit the purchases account. purchases account and goods purchased from Kamlesh. Kamlesh is giver, so we credit the Kamlesh account. Amount is of rupees 15,000. We mentioned in the amount column amount 15,000. Right narration goods bought from Kamlesh. From Kamlesh. Again, we separate the entry. Now see the next transaction here. The date is March 10. March 10. Transaction is paid cash to Kamlesh. Paid cash to Kamlesh. Cash paid to Kamlesh. Here the two account Kamlesh and cash. When cash paid to Kamlesh, Kamlesh is receiver and cash goes out from business. As per rule of personal account, debit the receiver, so we debit the Kamlesh account here. Kamlesh account. Kamlesh account debit. And cash goes out from business to cash account. Narration cash paid to Kamlesh. Cash paid to Kamlesh. Amount is here. Cash paid to Kamlesh 15,000. Again, we separate the entries by drawing line. The next is here. The next transaction is on March 16. The transaction is purchase goods from सोहन of ₹6,000. सोहन से 6,000 रुपये का माल खरीदा गया. जब हम गुड्स को परचेज करते हैं, गुड्स हमारे पास आती है, गुड्स रियल अकाउंट के अंतर्गत आता है, सो वी डेबिट द गुड्स परचेजेज अकाउंट इन प्लेस पर गुड. परचेजेज अकाउंट डेबिट. Account debit and goods purchased for from Sohan. Sohan is giver, so we credit the Sohan account. The amount is here 6,000. Narration goods purchased from Sohan. Purchased from Sohan. Again you separate the entries. The next transaction is purchase goods from Sohan for cash 8,000. Here March 18. March 18. Purchased goods from Sohan on credit. Here the two items. Goods. Here the next transaction is on March 18. The transaction is purchase goods from Sohan for cash of rupees 8,000. Here goods purchased from Sohan for cash. In this transaction there are two accounts, Sohan goods and cash. Goods purchased from Sohan for cash. Goods come into business एंड कैश गोज आउट फ्रॉम बिजनेस. यहाँ सोहन से कोई लेना देना नहीं है, क्योंकि गुड्स जो है जब हम दुकान किसी शॉपकीपर से कैश में परचेज करते हैं तो कौन है शॉपकीपर, नहीं है, कोई मतलब नहीं रह जाता है. केवल हम ये देखते हैं कि क्या आया और क्या गया. व्हेन गुड्स परचेज फॉर कैश, गुड्स कम इनटू बिजनेस एंड कैश गोज आउट फ्रॉम बिजनेस एज पर रूल ऑफ रियल अकाउंट. डेबिट व्हाट कम्स इन एंड क्रेडिट व्हाट गोज आउट. सो वी डेबिट हियर, वी debit the purchases account. Purchases account debit. Purchases account debit to cash account. Narration will be goods purchased for cash. Purchased for cash. Amount will be 8,000 before purchases and 8,000 before cash. Here the page is ends or page is over. So we do the total here. We draw the line to separate the entries and we'll do the total of amount also. The total amount is here 70, 5, 10, 15, 6 की 60, 29. 5, 10, 15, 6 की 60, 29, 6, 2, 8, 9, 2012, 13. 1,39,000. The total of amount is 1,39,000 है. जब पेज समाप्त हो जाता है और नेक्स्ट पेज में हम लिखना स्टार्ट करते हैं, तो उससे पहले जो पेज समाप्त हुआ है वहाँ पर नीचे में अमाउंट का टोटल कर देते हैं और यहाँ लिख देते हैं बैलेंस CF. Balance CF. Full form of CF is carried forward. Now, before starting the writing entry in the next page, we mention the amount of the last page here. Balance BF. Brought forward. Here the amount is 1,39,000. We mention in the both column debit and credit. 1,39,000. 1,39,000. And now started only one entry is left. The last entry is paid rent for office on March 20. March 20, paid rent for the office. Here in this transaction, there are two accounts, rent and rent paid for cash. Rent is expenses as per rule of nominal account. Debit the expenses account. Here we debit the rent account. Rent account debit. Rent paid in cash. Cash goes out from business. Cash come under real account, and as per rule of real account, credit part goes out. So here we credit the cash account. Amount is 1000. Before rent 1000 and before cash we write 1000. Here the narration is rent paid in cash. Rent paid in cash. Now the question ends. We total the journal entry. Here total of journal entry is 1,40,000. We mentioned here 1,40,000. Here also mentioned 1,40,000, and in particular we write grand total. Here particular में हम grand total लिख देंगे क्वेश्चन के लास्ट में. क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने के बाद जो फाइनली टोटल किया जाता है उसके लिए पार्टिकुलर में ग्रैंड टोटल लिखा जाता है, और इस तरह हम जर्नल एंट्री को क्लोज कर देंगे. दिस इज द वे टू मेक जर्नल एंट्रीज. Whenever we have to make journal entry, first of all we draw the column and we have to follow the rules of journal entries. Okay.